If you've been following these videos in sequence, you're probably thinking that we're going to do another 8 pieces of the brocade. I'm going to put that on hold for a moment. You see, I've been immersed in writing a book, and this book is called Breathe Your Truth. It's all about using the breath, and we weave through a Qigong practice for that. And so I thought that's what we would do today, because that's where my mind is. And it's a 5-element practice, which is always good to bring in any time of year. So we're going to journey with the breath primarily, and I'd like you to think of it that way. We're going to do a physical practice, but this is really about journeying with the breath. So let's begin. We're going to use spinal cord breathing to step into the practice. And in this phase of the breath and the physical movement body experience, allow the breath to be big. So you get to take this big breath in as we open, helping open the front of the chest. And as you breathe out, we close the chest, help the breath out, actually kind of crunch the abdomen to help push the breath out. So it's a breath out and a breath in, a breath out, and a breath in. We end with a closed fist, open the fist, and then again end with a closed fist. Just enough to feel that tension at the ends of the range. So we go through this place of ease and a little bit of tension using that big breath. Now, most of you, or if you're not there already, you're headed into a place of being dizzy. So let's back out of this. Take a moment just to let the dust settle. Take this as our first check-in point. So just check in and feel. You've been moving a bit more air than your body actually needs. It's fair to feel a little bit of dizziness, so just let that settle. And then let's take this movement into Buddha holds up the earth. We're going to do a breath in, palms face towards the sky, base of the index fingers pressed up towards the sky, the elbows draw back, and then with a breath out, we release. So again, we get to do this big breath in. We're going to take a breath into the belly, into the chest, into the collarbones, hold, small hold at the top, and then with a breath out, release. What we're doing is playing with the mechanics of breathing. So we get this belly expansion, we get this chest expansion, we get this upper chest or collarbone area expansion, and then we breathe out. Just letting that be big. Let's go one more. Breath in, breath in, breath in, hold at the top, small pause, and then release. And then let's take one arm at a time. We're going to open the side body. So now one palm faces towards the earth. The other turns to face skyward, and we open up the side body, the side of the rib cage. And then with a breath out, spiral the little fingers in towards the center. Maybe come down into a small squat, then stand a little taller as you take that breath in and open up the side body, using the breath to open the mechanics. Breath out, let it go. Breath into the side body, using that breath in to create a bit of a stretch, and with the breath out, release. So again, doing a little bit bigger breath than you metabolically need right now. We're doing that just to open the mechanics of the breath, and then release. Now, bring your hands to your kidneys. If you're wondering where your kidneys are, they're right about here. So just find your lower ribs in the back. And if it's more comfortable to let your hands rest like that, completely fine. If your shoulders don't let you come that far back, no problem, just in your mind's eye. Put your hands back there. Maybe your hands are a little lower. And feel how, as you let go of tension now, when you take a breath in, the lower ribs expand, and as you breathe out, they come back. In the Qigong world, referred to as kidney breathing. In the breathing world, just referred to as good breathing. So in general, when we take a breath in, yes, our body should be relaxed enough that those lower ribs expand, and as we breathe out, they come back. A couple more. Breath in, breath out. One more. Breath in, breath out. So we've woke up the mechanics of good breathing. We've opened up the rib cage, And then we've let that breath settle to the lower back body. Let's step now into improving the chemistry of our body. We're going to do mechanics, chemistry, mind, and then put it all together. For the chemistry, we're going to do a little bit of work here. So we're going to build up carbon dioxide, because it turns out building up carbon dioxide actually helps oxygen delivery and just helps our body become a little more resilient. So with a breath in, we're going to gather a little extra energy, and with a breath out, we're going to come down into a squat. Now you've got three options here. One option is your hands can just rest on your thighs. Next option, hands can rest on the knees, or the elbows can come to the inside of the knees. Now the position that we're going for is this flat back position where your tailbone is lifting towards the sky and you're softening between the shoulder blades to come to this tabletop or near tabletop position. Now if you've been here for a couple breath cycles already, let's shake that off. Come on back up. And we're going to do one that will hold for 10 breath cycles. That'll be enough for most of us to build up a good dose of carbon dioxide. If 10 feels too hard, no problem. Just know you're trying to bring yourself to a place that feels like you've got some work. So you can go a little less than that if you want. Absolutely no problem. So breath in, let's gather a little extra energy. And then a breath out, come down to the position you feel good with. And now the breathing is in and out through the nose. The breath is subtle and directed to the kidney area. So as you take a breath in, the kidneys fill, and as you breathe out, you soften between the shoulder blades a little more. Allowing the breath to be subtle, doesn't have to be big. It's just very conscious. It's in and out through the nose. The toes are relaxed. The inner arches lift, helping to create this outward going movement of the knees. The elbows are just gently resting alongside the knees. With each breath out, we soften just a little more. Solid base. You're even between the heels and the balls of your feet. That's what lets your toes be relaxed. And then with a breath in, the arms come up overhead. That was somewhere around 10. And with a breath out, pull that energy down evenly throughout the body. Take a moment just to pause in the work you've done. And keep the breathing very subtle and quiet, in and out through the nose. We've just intentionally elevated carbon dioxide. We're going to use that to your advantage. And as you're ready, the feet come in. We're going to do a movement called the fountain. Intentionally, we've got a nice easy movement right now. Back of the hands meet, and we draw up with a breath in, and with the breath out, release. Now play the game of allowing the breath to be subtle. So the best breath is directed, we're paying attention to it. But don't confuse that with this idea that the breath needs to be big. In fact, if you'd like, play the game of letting it be just a little more subtle than you actually want. Don't worry, we're going to have plenty of time to breathe big. Right now, we're just riding this wave of letting the breath be subtle, letting our nervous system be bathed in a little bit of extra carbon dioxide. Because what that does is changes our blood chemistry in a good way that makes it even easier for oxygen to get out. As we condition our body to do this, we actually can hit deeper states of relaxation, and it builds resilience to stress in general. And the trick is to do it in a way that's controlled and nice, like Qi Gong. And let's release that. Let's come to a place of checking in energetically in our center. So just allowing the breath to be in the kidney area, and just let the breath be what it wants to right now. The knees are soft. You can feel your weight even between the heels and the balls of the feet. The crown of the head lifts skyward. And the breath is just easy into the belly. we're going to do a movement called tree sways in the wind. We've got a couple small breath holds built into each round, one at the end of the exhale, one at the end of the inhale. Here's how it goes. Our exhale ends here. Now we hold the breath, and then with a breath in, we draw energy up the side body to the crown of the head, then hold the breath at the top of the breath in, and release. Small hold at the bottom of the breath out. These are really easy holds. And then draw the breath in. Hold, and come back. So allow this to be even easier than the fountain. Your body's in a little bit different space right now. It actually can breathe less, even more comfortably. And we can even integrate these places of stillness. At the end of a breath out, we hold. And then draw the breath in. What we're doing is just training the body to get comfortable with that slightly higher level of carbon dioxide in the blood. And you might be surprised at how comfortable this feels. If so, cool. And if it's not there yet, it's just not there yet. And release. Let's go one more to the other side. Hold at the end of the breath out. Breath in, draw that energy up the spine. It's a subtle, easy breath. It's not a huge breath. Hold the top of the breath in. Release. And then let's stay here in the center for a moment. Just connecting again to the energy in that spot just below the navel. Feeling the chemistry of your body and just knowing that you've moved it to a good place already. And now we're going to take a little wider leg stance. We're going to make a transition into playing with the electrical system of the body. So we've played with the mechanics, we've played with the chemistry. We're now in a great place to essentially use the breath to influence the mind. And then the last phase of what we do, we're going to use the mind to influence the breath or the body. But now let's take cloudy hands. And this can be a very easy, subtle version. Or you can take a little wider leg stance with the feet and drop down lower. Just find that place that helps you feel like it's connecting you to the movement, isn't serving as a big challenge. So we'll take a breath in as we go one direction, and we'll take a breath out as we go the other. Now intentionally, I'm going to guide us into a pace that connects to heart rate variability. Our resonant breathing frequency, we're going to take a pace of about 6 breaths per minute. And if I've got the timing right, it'll be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and an out. 2, 3, 4, 5, and an in. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that's very clinical, very mechanical. So let's let go of the counting and just take an about that. And your about might be following me nicely. Or you might be off on your own about 6 breaths per minute. 5 in, 5 out. The exact less important. The more important part is that we're just finding that rhythm that feels natural. Allowing the breath to be steady in, steady out, no holds. One hand creating this sense of infinite space in front of the heart. The other hand connecting to the earth. Slight weight shift. And back to center. And then in the spirit of playing with the electrical system, pebble in the pond. Here we're going to extend the exhale just a bit. So it's a breath out as the hands glide over the surface of the pond, and then a breath in to land. So we get to take a little bit of extra time in the breath out, and then a nice comfortable breath in. If I were to be technical about it, which I can be sometimes, we're going to take about 6 seconds to do our breath out, and then about 4 seconds to come in. That gives us a 10-second breath cycle, which means we'll be breathing at 6 breaths per minute. That breathing rate that gives our heart a chance to find its best heart rate variability. Heart rate variability being something good. It's a way for our body to express its best ability to be resilient. So a breath in as we come to the center, and a breath out to release. Any one of these activities can be done in isolation. All right, I'm giving you a sequence, a well-known sequence called the 5 elements. But you can take any one of these motions and use it as a snack during the day. So just a chance to, let's say for this one, to help calm your body down, tap into the electrical system, get it playing on your behalf. The truth is, if we do any of these motions well, it pulls the other dimensions right along with it. And so let's pull it all together now with pulling down the heavens. With a breath in, we're going to hit the mechanical system. We're going big. And with a breath out, we release that tension towards the earth. Let's do one for the chemical system now. We're still going to go big mechanically, but we're going to use a very subtle, easy, low volume breath. And then that nice, luxurious, long breath out. So we're maintaining, holding carbon dioxide in the body, not blowing it all off, just letting the breath be easy. Then let's hit the electrical system. I know it all looks the same. Breath in. That takes us about 5 seconds, 4 seconds. And then a breath out that takes us about 5 or 6 seconds. Maybe a little bit longer exhale just because that helps us tap into the vagus nerve. All right, then just one more because it feels good. Breath in, breath out. Let's do our centering motion. So feet come in. You can think of your hands as being supercharged, your body supercharged. Your ability right now to do what your mind wants to do is great. So we'll take a breath in, and then we'll clear tension in the mind, clear tension in the heart, and let that energy rest in the lower energy center. And again, breath in, clearing tension in the mind, clearing tension in the heart, and allowing that energy to rest. And then one hand resting over the other, the feet come together, bamboo in the wind. As you feel that solid rooting into the earth, use that to set your upper body free to just rock and sway. And then in this standing meditation, with the eyes open or closed, whatever is comfortable, take a moment just to observe. And that observation starts with energetically. How does everything feel inside? Allow that line to blur now with what you can feel in the outside world. It may be air moving over your feet or your hands. Maybe what you hear. Maybe sounds that come to you. And then simply recognize that you are the observer of all this. And that none of them are actually you. They're just things you can observe. And then allow that realization to peel back the layers of what we think of as self. Often we think of ourselves as the things we do or the things we don't do, or the things we have or the things we don't have, even things like having allergies or having a sleeping problem or having neck or back pain. We start to feel like those are things that are us. And in this moment, give yourself a break and let those peel away and just realize they are things that we can see. And we are actually the seer. And then one more level of using the mind to help the breath settle is to engage a practice where we recognize, we see, we appreciate any of the pinch points in our lives. So these could be things we've got coming up, things that happened to us in the past. They could be things we want to get done, things we think we should have gotten done. Just things that kind of pinch and nag at us. And for a few moments here, see those things as guideposts, as friends. They're actually there to help you see the way. And you don't have to understand what that way is. And in fact, I encourage you not to right now. Don't worry about realizing anything or knowing anything that those guideposts are trying to teach you. Instead, just smile to them inside, knowing that those pinch points are actually here to help. And if we can soften to them, the message that helps us starts to become clear. And that is the goal of this practice, to become clear, to become a little more balanced, to move any of the energy that we run into, that whirls around inside of us, into vitality for one purpose, really just to be happy. All right, so take that happiness into the rest of your day. Thanks for your practice.